Hello, ladies and gentlemen. There is a truth that many people live with that holds them in place, and that truth is a belief that they cannot move forward. They convince themselves that their potential is limited by external forces or circumstances beyond their control. But this is not the truth. The truth is that the greatest barrier standing between you and your potential is yourself. You are the one who limits what you can achieve. You are the one who puts the chains on your own hands and says, I cannot. And those chains are often nothing more than beliefs, ideas, or habits that were formed over time without conscious thought. You must ask yourself, why do you hold yourself back? Why do you shrink from the challenge when life demands you step up? Life is always demanding more from you, but so often people recoil. They retreat into comfort, into the safety of familiarity. This isn't life, this is stagnation. The world is vast and the possibilities for growth and development are endless. Yet people sit idly by, watching as time slips away, wondering what could have been. They convince themselves that they are not worthy of success, that they are not capable of greatness, or that their past mistakes define them in some way. You can always do more. You have more to give than you know. And yes, there will be fear, there will be obstacles. But the reality is that the fear is often just a shadow of a story you have been telling yourself. The world will always be difficult. There will always be setbacks, always be challenges, but it is in the facing of those challenges that you grow. It is in the discomfort, in the hardship, in the effort that your potential is unlocked. You have to understand that growth is not a passive experience, it is active. It requires effort, discipline, and courage. It requires you to act in the face of fear and uncertainty. It requires you to stop giving excuses, to stop believing the lies you've told yourself, and to take responsibility for your own life. When you stop holding yourself back, you stop waiting for permission to be great. You stop asking for someone else's validation or approval. You realize that you are the author of your own story, and the power to change, to grow, to push the boundaries of your potential is within your control. It is not about circumstances, it is about your response to those circumstances. You can either stand on the sidelines, paralyzed by fear and uncertainty, or you can get in the game and fight. You have a choice in every moment to be better than you were yesterday. Every day is an opportunity to grow, to face the difficulties head on, and to push yourself to be the person you are capable of being. It doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you end up. Every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to have it all figured out, but you do need to move, to act, to refuse to stay stagnant, to stop holding yourself back, to stop listening to the inner voice that says you can't. The truth is you can. And once you accept that, once you start acting on it, you'll be amazed at the things you can accomplish. Self-imposed limitations are perhaps the most insidious force standing in the way of human potential. They are the invisible chains that bind us to mediocrity, the quiet whispers in our minds telling us that we can't do something or that we're not good enough to try. These limitations aren't usually imposed by the outside world. They are not the result of some oppressive external force, but are instead the product of our own internal beliefs and narratives. We create these walls around ourselves, and worse yet, we become convinced that they are real, that they define us, and that there is nothing we can do to escape them. The foundation of these self-imposed limitations often begins in early childhood and formative experiences where we encounter failure, criticism, or trauma. These experiences shape how we see ourselves and our capabilities. If, for example, you fail at something early in life, that failure can leave a scar. Your mind, trying to protect you from the pain of further failure, will start to create a narrative: you can't do that. It's too hard. It's not worth trying. The story you tell yourself becomes a prison of your own making. It's not the external world that's holding you back. It's your internal acceptance of those limitations as truth. But here's the critical point. These limitations are not real. They are stories you've created, and these stories can be rewritten. The world is filled with examples of people who, despite facing incredible challenges, did not let those challenges define them. Instead, they recognize that limitations, while real in one sense, are always negotiable. There are always ways to grow, to learn, and to transcend your current level of competence. You are capable of so much more than you give yourself credit for, but you've convinced yourself that the chains you've created are unbreakable. The key is understanding that these limitations are not absolute, they are relative. They are constructs. If you constantly tell yourself, "I am not smart enough to succeed," you will inevitably begin to live as though that's true. Your actions will reflect your belief in that limitation, and you'll steer clear of challenges that might reveal otherwise. But if you start to question that assumption, if you begin to take small, deliberate steps outside your comfort zone, you will gradually dismantle that story. The first time you succeed where you thought you would fail will be a revelation. It will show you that your limitations were never the reality you thought they were, but merely a product of your own thinking. Part of breaking free from these self-imposed limitations is taking responsibility. You must accept that you are the one who has been keeping yourself stuck. You can no longer blame your past, your circumstances, or your genetics for your current state. You must acknowledge that the real enemy is not external but internal. It is the unwillingness to face the discomfort of stepping into the unknown, of taking risks, of confronting the fear of failure. This doesn't mean that failure won't happen. Failure is inevitable, but it is through failure that you grow. You do not grow in the safety of your comfort zone. You grow when you dare to venture beyond it, when you take on challenges that seem impossible. That is where real transformation occurs. When you break free from the limitations you've imposed on yourself, you begin to realize that the world is much bigger and more full of opportunity than you ever imagined. You stop being the victim of your own mind and become the creator of your future. Growth through discomfort is one of the fundamental principles that underlies all meaningful progress in life. We live in a world that often prioritizes comfort where convenience, ease, and instant gratification are celebrated. But the truth is, growth does not occur in the absence of difficulty. It is through the trials and tribulations, the challenges and obstacles, that we find out who we truly are and what we are capable of achieving. The discomfort we experience when we step outside of our usual patterns is not something to be avoided, as so many people do. It is precisely this discomfort that serves as the catalyst for transformation. Think about it, when you're in your comfort zone, there is no incentive to change. You are not being pushed, you are not being challenged, and therefore you are not growing. Growth requires effort. It requires you to push against the familiar, to challenge your limits, and to confront the unknown. That discomfort you feel is your body and mind signaling that you are being stretched, that you are being asked to expand. However, this discomfort is not always easy to recognize as a source of growth. In fact, most people tend to shy away from it, seeing it as something negative, something to be avoided. The pain of failure, the anxiety of taking a risk, the stress of meeting high expectations, these are often viewed as signals that you are doing something wrong. But in reality, they are signals that you are doing something right. You are moving into new territory, pushing beyond the boundaries of your previous experience. And it is here, in that discomfort, where the greatest opportunities for growth exist. Consider a physical analogy. When you exercise, particularly when you challenge your body with more weight or more intensity, there is a temporary discomfort that comes with the effort. Your muscles burn, your heart races, your body struggles, but it is in the struggle, in the tension, that muscle fibers tear and rebuild stronger. Without that discomfort, your body would not adapt. Without that push, you would not develop greater strength, endurance, or resilience. The same principle applies to the mind and to life itself. Without discomfort, without pushing yourself beyond what you already know, you will remain stagnant, unable to reach the potential that lies dormant within you. The key to understanding this is to stop seeing discomfort as a purely negative force. Instead, recognize it as a tool, one that, if approached with the right mindset, can lead you to profound growth. When you feel discomfort, it's not necessarily a sign of failure. It's a sign that you are on the verge of something greater. This is where transformation occurs, in the moments where you are forced to confront your limitations, your fears, and your doubts. The discomfort you feel is not an obstacle to success. It is the very thing that prepares you for it. What makes this so difficult for many people to accept is the human tendency to avoid pain. The modern world has made it so easy to escape discomfort. We have technology that numbs our minds, foods that numb our bodies, entertainment that numbs our emotions. But real growth, real success, comes only when you are willing to endure the discomfort of learning, of failing, of trying again, and of rising above. It requires you to see discomfort as the soil in which your potential grows, rather than as an enemy to be avoided. Ultimately, the path to growth is a path of challenge. If you want to become stronger, wiser, and more capable, you must embrace the discomfort that accompanies that process. You must be willing to fail, to face uncertainty, and to risk what is comfortable in order to achieve what is meaningful. The discomfort is not something to fear, it is something to be welcomed. For it is only by stepping through that discomfort that you will ever come to realize the full extent of your potential. Responsibility and self-authorship are two of the most powerful concepts in human existence. They are the foundation upon which personal growth, meaning, and success are built. When you take responsibility for your life and become the author of your own story, you are no longer a passive observer of your circumstances. You are the active participant, the creator of your own future. This shift in perspective is not only liberating but also essential for breaking free from the chains of external control and the tyranny of self-doubt. Most people, consciously or unconsciously, live their lives as though they are subject to the whims of the world around them. They blame their failures on external factors, bad luck, oppressive systems, or the actions of others. And while there are indeed external factors that can influence our lives, the truth is that the most significant influence on your life is you. You are the one who determines how you respond to adversity. You are the one who chooses how to interpret the challenges that come your way. By embracing responsibility, you reclaim control over your own fate. Responsibility, in its truest sense, is the acceptance that the consequences of your actions, both good and bad, are yours to bear. It is the recognition that your life, your circumstances, your achievements, and your failures are not merely the result of random chance or external forces, but the product of the choices you make. Responsibility is not a burden, it is the freedom to act and to shape your life according to your values, your goals, and your desires. The moment you take full responsibility for your actions and decisions is the moment you take full control of your life. This leads us to self-authorship. Self-authorship is the idea that you are the author of your own narrative. Too often, people live as though they are merely following a script written for them by society, their family, or their past experiences. They feel as though they have no agency in their own lives, as though they are merely acting out a role that has been predetermined. But self-authorship is the recognition that you are the one who writes the story of your life. The past does not define you. The circumstances you were born into do not define you. You have the power to create a new narrative, one that aligns with your deepest values and aspirations. Taking on the mantle of self-authorship requires courage. It means stepping into the unknown, confronting your fears, and embracing the discomfort of uncertainty. It means rejecting the victim mentality, the idea that you are helpless in the face of life's challenges, and instead adopting an empowered mindset that says, I have the power to change, to grow, and to make a difference in my life. It means understanding that while you cannot control every external factor, you always have control over how you respond to those factors. When you accept responsibility for your life and embrace self-authorship, you begin to see every challenge as an opportunity for growth. You stop viewing difficulties as obstacles and start seeing them as chances to test your strength, to refine your character, and to deepen your understanding of who you are. You realize that the power to shape your future lies not in waiting for the world to change, but in changing yourself, your mindset, and your actions. Self-authorship also means recognizing your role in shaping your relationships and interactions with others. You are not at the mercy of the opinions and judgments of others. You have the ability to choose how you show up in the world, how you treat others, and how you assert your values. When you take responsibility for your actions, you also take responsibility for how you impact the people around you. Your choices, your words, and your behavior have consequences, and you are the one who is accountable for them. Ultimately, responsibility and self-authorship are about embracing the sovereignty of your own life. They are about stepping into your full potential, knowing that the power to transform your life lies within you. When you accept responsibility for your actions and become the author of your own story, you stop being a passive observer and become an active creator. You become the person who shapes their destiny, who takes control of their fate, and who, through hard work and self-discipline, builds the life they truly desire. Consistency and progress is the uncelebrated hero of personal development. It is the quiet, persistent effort that compounds over time, leading to real, lasting change. While society tends to celebrate dramatic, transformational moments, the sudden success, the big breakthrough, what truly makes the difference in the long run is the steady, incremental progress that you make each day. The results of this consistent effort are not immediately visible, but they build up in the background, gradually shaping your character, your abilities, and your life. The truth is, progress is rarely linear. It's not a smooth, straight path to success. There will be setbacks, plateaus, and moments where it feels like you're not making any headway at all. This is where many people falter. They expect immediate results. And when those results don't come as quickly as they hoped, they lose faith in the process. They give up or shift their focus to something else, thinking that they've failed or that their effort wasn't worth it. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding of how growth works. Growth is not something that happens all at once. It happens in small, sometimes imperceptible steps. Think about learning a new skill, for example. In the beginning, the progress feels slow, if not non-existent. The early days of learning a new language or picking up an instrument are filled with frustration and self-doubt. But the key is to keep going, to show up every day, even when it doesn't feel like you're getting anywhere. That's where the real progress happens. The results of your effort will show up eventually, but only if you continue to put in the work consistently, day after day. Consistency requires discipline, yes, but it also requires a long-term vision. It requires an understanding that growth doesn't happen in bursts of inspiration, but in the small, deliberate actions that you take over time. It means committing to the process, not just the outcome. When you focus too much on the end goal, it's easy to get discouraged when progress isn't happening as quickly as you want. But when you shift your attention to the process itself, to the act of showing up and putting in the effort, you start to see that progress is being made, even when it's not immediately visible. This idea of consistency is also about developing the habit of discipline. It's about creating systems in your life that support your goals and make it easier to stay on track. It's about setting routines, establishing priorities, and eliminating distractions. When you create structure, you remove the need for motivation. Motivation comes and goes, but consistency is about showing up regardless of how you feel. The habit becomes the driving force, not the fleeting emotion of the moment. In this way, you become less reliant on willpower and more on the systems you've built to support your success. Moreover, consistency in progress is not about perfection. It's about showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's about acknowledging that mistakes will happen. And that's okay. Perfectionism can paralyze you. If you wait for the perfect moment to start or the perfect set of circumstances to align, you will be waiting forever. Instead, focus on making progress, however small. The small wins accumulate over time, and they are what make the difference. Consistency is also crucial when it comes to building resilience. Life will test you. It will throw challenges your way, and you will encounter failure along the path. But it is through consistent effort that you build the mental and emotional strength to keep going in the face of adversity. Resilience is not developed through sporadic bursts of effort. It is forged through steady, ongoing action. When you continue to push forward, even when it seems like you're not making progress, you develop the fortitude to withstand life's inevitable setbacks. In the end, consistency and progress is the foundation upon which all great achievements are built. It is not about the dramatic moments, but about the quiet, persistent steps that you take every day. Progress may be slow and results may not be immediately apparent, but if you remain consistent, you will find that the compound effect of your efforts will lead to transformation. Stay committed, keep moving forward, and trust the process. Progress, no matter how small, is progress. And that is the key to becoming the person you are meant to be. So here we are, standing at the precipice of our potential. The question now is, will you step forward, or will you remain in the comfort of your self-imposed limitations? The truth is, life is difficult. It is messy, unpredictable, and often unfair. But that's where your growth lies, at the edge of discomfort in the face of adversity. You can't avoid the struggle, nor should you. It is through the struggle that you forge your character, your strength, and your resilience. The responsibility is yours. The authorship of your story rests in your hands. No one can live your life for you, and no one can take control of it without your permission. Every day you make choices, consciously or unconsciously, that shape your reality. You can choose to keep playing small to avoid the discomfort, to resign yourself to the same predictable routine, where you can choose to rise above it. You can choose to face your fears, to take responsibility for your actions, and to begin crafting the life that you are capable of living. Understand this: progress doesn't come from grand gestures or moments of instant success. It comes from showing up every day, doing the work, even when the results aren't immediately visible. It comes from the small, consistent steps you take, no matter how insignificant they may seem in the moment. It comes from embracing discomfort, from facing the difficulties head-on, and from refusing to give in to the easy path. But here's the powerful thing about all of this: once you begin to move forward, once you start to take control, once you step into the unknown with purpose and determination, you will be amazed at what you can accomplish. You are capable of more than you know, but it all starts with the decision to stop holding yourself back. So, take responsibility, write your own story, move forward with courage. The world may not be easy, but it is full of opportunity. And it is only through consistent effort, through embracing the discomfort and choosing to grow, that you will unlock the true power within you.